Hi guys, a very, very important topic as you can see behind me, and that's the sun. A lot of health benefits from the sun, but is it our friend overall or is it our enemy? Does it cause cancer or doesn't it, or does it protect us from cancer? Okay, it definitely does cause cancer in the long term if we get too much, but the benefits of getting just the right amount are irrefutable. And we're not getting enough anymore because these marketing companies jumped in and they scared everybody so much, they're telling them to stay out of the sun, okay? But the medical institution, guys, if you look at their articles and their research, is showing that, the sun is great because of things like vitamin D, which I'm going to talk about, which is a very important nutrient, which we've been talking about for years, but just in the last 10 to 15 years, they've really jumped on it and seen what it actually does for us. And you'll be surprised, everything from helping to protect us from cancers, blood pressure, asthmas, immune system. I'm going to show you some of that stuff in a moment, okay? So I'm going to put a little slideshow on so you can see some of the facts here and put it all into perspective. So here we go. So let's look at the statistics firstly. Around 8,700 people died last year in the US from skin cancers, reported skin cancers, because as we know, there's other things that affect skin cancers. But let's just say 8,700 people died from skin cancers. And from the same statistics, it showed around 40,000 people died from breast cancer, colon cancer was another 32,000, and another 51,000 from prostate cancer. So these three cancers alone, which as it says, these cancers are known to be related to lack of sun exposure, it was over 120,000. So 8,700 that died, let's just say the sun caused cancer, and 120,000 plus that not being in the sun caused the cancer. Can you see what I'm saying? And, a good analogy would be drinking water, for example. Water has, if you really research it, it's got so many chemicals in like chlorine, fluoride, there's lead and other stuff that comes through your water, which if we looked at those ingredients on their own and say, danger, they're very dangerous. They actually cause extreme harm and kill you, right? But we don't say to somebody, stop drinking water completely because of those few chemicals, do we? Because you'd be dead in a few days, right? What we do is we still drink it, or we protect ourselves as much as we can from those chemicals. Same with the air we breathe. Do we tell people don't breathe air? Because in the air, not only have we got oxygen, which we know we need to survive, but it's got so many other things in, like carbon monoxide and other things, fumes and toxins in there. But again, we can't, stop breathing oxygen, right? So I hope that makes sense. So looking at just the cancer statistics alone, which I'm going to show you now in a moment, the clinical trials, vitamin D helps with that. Look at this. This is kidney cancers, all gone up from 1979, 2014, and it's predicted they're going to more than double again. Same with breast cancer, all going up. And all types of cancers are going up, okay? And in all fairness, it's not just the vitamin D. I mean, that's a big portion of it. There's things like toxins and other stuff as well. But as we're going to see from the articles, vitamin D alone helps reduce it dramatically, okay? And that's what I'm going to share with you right now, so you can see some of those articles. Oops, here we go. Okay, so looking through, and as you can see up here, this is the medical side, WebMD. There's so many benefits, as you can see, vitamin D and the role it has in your body, from, like it says, osteoporosis, because we know calcium is great for the bones, right? But a lot of people don't realize that calcium is virtually useless unless you have vitamin D in there, plus some other nutrients. Okay, so like I said before, all types, there's diabetes, and all types of cancers, like breast, colon cancer, prostate, esophagus, etc., all get affected by vitamin D. Blood pressure, again, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, heart attacks, you name it. As it says in one of these articles, the vitamin D is responsible for over 200 different types of function, because it affects over 200 different types of genes in your body, which, of course, help you with all these benefits. Okay, so very, very important. Even skin, again, vitamin D, it helps with your skin. So in other words, it can cause cancer, but it also helps your skin as well. Pancreas, insulin, you name it, guys, hundreds and hundreds of benefits. And it's not just hearsay. There's lots and lots of clinical trials I did. Even with colon polyps, which is a huge problem at the moment, and one of the worst cancers to treat is colon cancer. Now, even 645 IU, which if you know about vitamin D6 is very low, okay? You need over 2,000 or even saying even over 4,000 more for, optimum benefits, okay? But even 645 had a 40% reduction in colon polyps. Imagine if you had the proper amount, it could reduce even more. And the same goes, it's not just one side. I'll show you other sites here too. Here's another medical site. And the same thing, guys, you'll see all these things that he talks about, all the things that it helps support with the brain, the nervous system, like I said, insulin, diabetes, you name it. And it gives you even, I think here, a couple of examples. Here it is, reduced risk of flu. So your immune system as well. When they had vitamin D, 1,200 international units, it reduced it by over 40%. When they went up a little bit, 2,000 international units, it helped with diabetes, 88% reduction in risk. That's huge, guys. This is no side effects, nothing like medications have. And look at the difference. And I'm not saying don't take medication like that. I'm not against any sort of, but I'm just saying adding on benefit D, you probably won't need all these medications and it can assist, okay? And it's free, okay? Healthy infants, like I said, asthma, eczema, too many to list here. And also more importantly, look at what vitamin deficiency can do, the ill effects, as you can see. Like we said before, getting sick, fatigue, painful bones, depression as well. Vitamin D is needed for hormones in your body. And this is a good example. Just stay in the sun when you're feeling that for about 15, 20 minutes. Don't you feel better when you get that little bit of sun? Of course you do. It helps with all these hormonal things. Impaired wound healing, hair loss, muscle pain, obesity. People don't realize that vitamin D is linked to weight loss. How easy is that? Just by being in the sun, it helps reduce your weight. And I'll show this article. I'll put it up here. Again, I haven't got time to go through all of it, but there's 5 different ways vitamin D can benefit of weight loss. And if you read through, it helps with belly fat as well, which is hard to lose. And again, the list just keeps going on and on. Hypertension, depression, fibromyalgia, and it goes on and on, okay? So, guys, I hope you can see the importance of vitamin D and getting it on a daily basis. Very, very important. So again, like I said before, putting it into perspective, the benefits of being in the sun, okay, highly outweigh the ill benefits of smoking. In other words, smoking cigarettes, that is. In other words, not being in the sun, okay, will be worse than actually smoking cigarettes. Ill benefits, okay? And again, like I said, I'm not advocating smoking, but I'm just trying to show you how important it is to be in the sun. So I hope that makes sense. So now moving on forward, how do we protect ourselves? Because too much sun, remember, is not good. So rule of thumb, like I said, 15 to 30 minutes should be enough depending on your skin, like the color of your skin. If you're darker skin, like I said, it takes you longer to absorb vitamin D. If you're covered, remember, 40 to 50% of your body, it should be, uncovered. So you can get that vitamin D, okay, and depending where you live. And we will need to protect ourselves if you're in the sun. If you're playing sport, for example, you don't need more than 15 to 30 minutes. If you're working in the sun, of course, use your common sense, okay? Now, just understand that there's 2 different types of UV rays. There's UVA and UVB rays, okay? And the UVA rays penetrate deep into the skin, and the UVBs don't. They stay on top. The UVBs is what causes sunburn, okay? But they're the ones also that give you the vitamin D, okay? So it's important we do get some of them, okay? So UVA, so when you see UVB protection or SPF protection, all it's doing is protecting you against the UVB, which is what they see, pretty quickly, the sunburn, right? But not the UVA, and that's what shows up long-term, and that can cause cancer too, long-term, and more like I said before, the wrinkles and all that show up at the age of 40. What you need is a broad spectrum. Okay, you've probably seen it before, but you didn't know what that was. It's a broad spectrum sunscreen. So it protects you against UVA and UVB. So they'll have broad spectrum, or they'll have UVA, UVB protection. Okay, so again, just showing you clearer. UVA, with a better diagram here, penetrates deep down. UVB stays on top, and we need to protect ourselves on both. Okay, so what type of sunscreens should we be using? There's different types of sunscreens. There's chemical sunscreens, and there's natural sunscreen, the physical mineral sunscreen. They're natural. Now, the synthetic chemical sunscreens are the ones that get absorbed deep down into the skin, as it shows here. And that's why you see on them, they'll say, apply 20 to 30 minutes before you go in the sun or you swim, because it takes that amount of time to get absorbed in the skin. Like it says here, it absorbs in the skin and then absorbs those UV rays, which is dangerous too, guys, because as you're going to see in a moment, those chemicals, firstly, not supposed to be in your body, a lot of them, because they're toxic chemicals, but when they heat up, it's even worse. And what do we do when we're in the sun? You know, we stay there for a long period of time, it heats up. So it becomes worse. The physical mineral sunscreens stay on the top of your skin, as it shows, and it reflects them off. Okay, so what type of chemicals are we looking for? There's a whole heap, guys, that they use for chemical sunscreens, and you can see some of them here. And they have a color coding here, which shows you from least dangerous, which is the light color, to the most dangerous red, and the green ones are completely safe. Okay, so cut long story short, zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, two of the natural ones which are completely safe. And as you can see, zinc oxide protects you against UVB and UVA. Most of the chemical ones only protect you against the UVB, okay, which is a sunburn, not for UVA, which is long-term damage. There is one here, the benzone, it's a chemical one, which is not dangerous. But the problem is it doesn't stay in your system long. It's very unstable, without going into too much detail. And it will be accompanied by other chemicals so it can last longer. So you're going to find some of these other chemicals. Zinc oxide is completely safe. You might say, well, why don't they use zinc oxide? Because it leaves a white residue. That's why we see, you know, when they used to put it on their nose or their face, they had the white cream. A lot of people don't want it because of cosmetic stuff, but they don't realize it is completely safe. Titanium dioxide is safe as well. There's a few articles there that say if it does get in your skin, because they're not sure, they're saying it doesn't, then titanium is a heavier metal. Okay, zinc is something that your body needs anyway. Zinc, so it's completely safe. You need it for immune system, etc. Okay, so very, very safe. And remember, these other chemicals here, you can read up about them. They all have hormone disruption, organ system toxicity. As you can see, again, reproductive toxicity. They also enhance the absorption of other chemicals. Okay, and I'll show you this article here, which actually give you an example of what it does. Here's just one article which talks about sunscreens and how they're saying it could be causing a lot of damage and killing people as well. And you're welcome, like I said, to have the links to these articles if you want them, because they have whole videos on this stuff. But basically, like it says, chlorinated water transforms sunscreen ingredients into cancer-causing chemicals. And while you swim, and we know kids when in the pool, you know, we've got chlorine in our water, haven't we? And they're swimming all day. And not only are the chemicals dangerous, but it's helping absorb the other chemicals from your pool. Okay, like it says, the ingredients in sunscreens actually transform into chemicals that cause cancer when they're exposed to the chlorine found in the swimming pool. Water, in addition to cancer, such chemicals have also been linked to problems like immune system damage, infertility, and the reaction is even worse with pools that use copper salt, so it has a blue color. So again, without going into too much detail, it's not just these chemicals, it helps absorb so many different types of chemicals, so be aware of that. Now, there's a lot of different chemicals. If you want to, if you're not sure, I'll just minimize that. There's another site here which I found which is really good. You can punch up the top here any ingredient that you have, which might say, you know, on your sunscreen, it's natural. But are you 100% sure? You can't trust them. Punch those chemicals up here and you'll be able to see if they're dangerous or not. I've used one example here, octinoxate, and you can see it gave it a rating of 6. So just click on that so you can see the color coding. Oops, there it is. And you can see, like I said before, green is really safe. So if it's got 1 to 2, really safe. 3 to 6 is moderate. You know, I'd say 3, 4, even 5 you can get away with, but anything 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is dangerous. So, you know, I would avoid that. Okay, so if you want that site, just let me know. I'll give you the link to that. I hope that helps. Okay, so you can check the chemicals out on that site, and just know that there's so many other chemicals, as you can see here. These are some of the chemicals in sunscreens, and all of them, if you read here, have liver problems, hormone problems, cancers, mutating genes, etc. So take your time, and if you read all the ingredients and use that site if you need to, and just see how safe they are. Okay, so assuming now we've got a good sunscreen, remember, I highly recommend zinc oxide. That is the safest one, and staying in the sun for about 15 to 30 minutes. But what SPF factor should you use? Because as we can see from marketing, there's so many different types, isn't there? There's 15, there's 20, there's 25, 30, there's even 50, 70, or even as high as 100 plus, right? So is a 100 plus or a 90 plus sunscreen really that much better than one with an SPF of 30? What do you think? Interesting, isn't it? It's logical, like it says, to think that an SPF 30 is twice as good as an SPF 15, right? And so on. That's what I thought, right? But that's not how it works. Let me give you the facts. An SPF 15 product blocks about 94% of UVB rays, which is pretty good, 94%. So a 30 is not double, is it? A 30 product blocks around 97%. So it's still better, but it's not twice as good. Then it gets ridiculous after that. 45 blocks around 98%, so that's 1% more. And 100 plus, 90 plus virtually does nothing more. And usually these are the ones that have much more chemicals, and it's all marketing, guys, okay? So why doesn't the government step in and just simplify this so people don't get tricked? What you should be doing is saying SPF 94%, right? It's easy to understand. Or SPF 97%. None of these 15 and 30, that's all garbage. So basically, even a 15 SPF, guys, is good enough. I'd go for a 30 is good enough. You know, anything after that, it's just silly, okay? So why do we need more protection today? One of the other reasons is the ozone layer. A lot of people don't realize the ozone layer has become damaged, and it started back in the 50s, 60s when we started using mostly the aerosol cans and all these gases, refrigeration, for example. And we know we've changed that now, and we're very, very strict, and we got rid of a lot of the gases. They started becoming suspicious, so you know, in the 70s, and they confirmed it in the 80s. They just said, wow, we've lost so much of our ozone layer. And even then, it was, I think, 5 to 10% had been depleted, and it was crazy what was happening. So they put strict measures in, and the good news is they stopped it by the year 2000. They saw that it stopped depleting, and they're hoping, guys, they're hoping, if we can continue it, that it'll get back to the 1980s level of ozone by the year 2050 to 2065. So that's not my job. That'll be the next generation, hopefully, that they'll get it back to the 80s. So we do have to be a little bit more careful. So what is the ozone layer? Some people might know, some might not know. How much ozone have we got in our atmosphere? You might find this interesting, but our atmosphere, you know, extends way, way above the Earth, and our ozone is only found between around 15 to, some say 30, 35, and 40 kilometers. That's the most concentrated area. That's where the ozone is, right? So how much ozone do you think we have to protect us from the UVB? Remember, they protect your UVB rays. What you're going to see is not very much at all compared to how much air is on this Earth. So we can put that into perspective. Our atmosphere extends to about 480 kilometers to 500 kilometers above the Earth. And it's very, very thin up the top. They've just detected some air particles around 480 to 500 kilometers, but most of the air is underneath the 50-kilometer range. But NASA has actually said, we're going to make it official. We've got to pick some sort of distance. And they picked 100 kilometers, which is 60 miles, and they said that's where space starts. But really, there's very, very thin air after that, all the way up to 480 kilometers. So if we were to get all of the air in a vertical column that extends up all the way up to 480 kilometers above the Earth, and we compressed it down solid, you would get, as it says here, about 8 kilometers thick, right, of air. So that's not much, but still 8 kilometers is much. How much ozone do you think? Take a second to think about it. How much? If it's 8 kilometers, what do you think? 1 kilometer? This is what's going to surprise you. Only about 3 millimeters. That's it. The height of 2 dimes. And the ozone hole, because it's being depleted, there's areas which you can research more, is only about 1 millimeter thick. And unfortunately, countries like Australia, New Zealand, which obviously I grew up in, have got the ozone hole is above that. It's thinner ozone protection. So we have to be more careful. Australia, New Zealand, some other countries, Argentina, Chile are on that line too. But that's why Australia's got the highest rate of skin cancers in the world. So yes, we do have to protect ourselves, but we still need that 15 to 30 minutes. Okay. So for whatever reasons, if you've got a genetic disposition where you can't be in the sun or you skip, then you have to get it some other way. And the only other safe way would be some sort of supplementation, because you can't get it from your foods, and it's going to help you in all these other areas as well. So is our sun our friend or our enemy? It's obviously our friend, isn't it? But like all friends, it's got to be in moderation, because they too can become dangerous, right? So I hope you enjoyed this. If you like it, please share, and hope to see you in the next video. And, once again, always thank you for watching. And like I said, see you in the next video, hopefully.